Hi, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise. Tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we're going to put together a well-rounded whole body strength and conditioning sequence. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify when you need to, rest when you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to begin today's class in a four-point kneeling position on the mat. Make your way down onto the hands and the knees. Hands stacking directly underneath your shoulders. Knees stacking directly underneath your hip points. We're going to begin by tracing a little hula circle through the pelvis. Make sure that it's just the pelvis that's tilting a full 360 degrees, and we're going to keep tracing that hula circle in one direction. We're moving clockwise today, making sure that the arms and the legs are staying still and just the pelvis tilting as if you were hulaing with your pelvis. Then come to stillness and begin to move in a cat-cow position, taking an inhale to prepare, taking chin and bum bones to the sky, exhaling to round up. Playing in a 1-to-1 inhalation to exhalation ratio today and using the cat-cow to lengthen, warm up and stretch the spine. Then end somewhere between your cat and your cow with the longest spine that you can forge. Gaze down on the mat between your two thumbs as we begin to activate the lower belly. Relax your belly button and allow your lower belly to gravitate towards the mat and then gently suck it up. Relax, belly up. Relax, belly up. Activating that lower belly that becomes soft and rounded as we do a lot of sitting and not enough moving during the day. End in the belly up position. Keep the belly up position and without moving or changing the shape of your spine, exhale to look over one shoulder for your tailbone. Inhale to look back to center. Exhale to peep over the other side. You're going to keep alternating, looking over one shoulder at a time, keeping the belly up position and holding that beautiful long line through the spine. The whole time pushing the mat strongly away and not collapsing between the two shoulders. We're going to step back from here into a long plank climb. Body line as parallel to the mat as you can. Hold strong for 10. Open up that spot between those two shoulders. Stay here in your plank line or begin to play with a slow marching knee, drawing one knee in at a time towards your nose, holding the plank steady and trying to keep nice and even through the pelvis. So as one leg lifts off the mat and starts to drive towards your nose, try to keep the body weight as equal as you can on the left and the right side of the spine. Keeping that belly up position the whole time. Then drop to your knees. You can relax the feet to the floor behind you. Place your hands on your hips and begin in a neutral spine, allowing for the natural S-curve shape of your spine. Exhale to tilt your pelvis to the 12 o'clock position. And then inhale to come back to neutral. 5 times. You're going to tilt and pause through the pelvis. And then release back to neutral. Keeping your hands on your hips so that you can feel that tilt happening through the pelvis. Then take a low lunge step forward with the right leg, making sure you've got knee over ankle. And begin to play with that same tilt and release. 5 times. You're going to tilt and then release. Keeping your hands on your hips so that you can connect to that tilt that's happening through the pelvis. From here, we're going to change our setup on the mat and we're going to find our way into a high gate line. Keeping one knee bent, extending the other leg, trying to line up the knee and the big toe on the same line. We're going to relax, hand down to the mat. You can give me a flat hand or a fisted hand, whichever works better for you. And we're going to place our top hand on the hip with the elbow looking up towards the sky. We're going to lift the top leg up in line with the hip and tap back to the mat 10 times. We're going to end at the hip height position. Bend the knee, draw it in, and extend. 10 times. You're going to give me a little knee tuck. We're going to begin combining those two movements together. One tap, one knee tuck. One tap, one knee tuck. Let's call that 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. We're going to end in the tapped position and then extend the top arm, bring it as close to your ear as you can, and just take a delicious stretch here. Long stretch from the big toe of your extended leg through the line of the leg, the line of the ribs, the line of the top arm. Then bleed your way back up. Reorient yourself so that you're facing the front of the mat. Extend both arms out in front. Keep that nice tall kneel. We're going to trace a forward circle with the right arm, keeping the left arm where it is, locked at shoulder height. Shoot for roughly 5 big circles and then change hands. Using your arms like a big sweeping oar. Once you've done 5 on each side, you're going to double up and you're going to do both arms together in a forward stroke motion, keeping that nice tall kneel with your shoulders, hips, knees stacked in one long line. Then find your way from here back into your original 4-point kneeling position on the mat. We're going to hula the pelvis again, this time moving in an anti-clockwise circle. Make sure that it's just the pelvis that's rotating. Try to keep the rest of your body nice and still. Once you've done roughly 10 hulas, you're going to start to move through some cat-cows, working at a 1-to-1 inhalation to exhalation ratio, and using the cat-cow to release and lengthen the spine. Trying to keep your arms and your legs as still as you can and just playing with the shape of your spine. Then entering in a neutral position, somewhere between your cat and your cow, and starting to activate the belly up position by relaxing your lower belly, allowing it to gravitate towards the floor, and then gently pulling your belly button in and fusing it to your spine. Try to keep your back line as still as you can, and just relax, and then activate your belly center. Keep pushing the mat strongly away with your hands. so that it doesn't feel like you're collapsing between the two shoulder blades. End in the belly up position. Keep your spine as long as you can. Exhale to look over one shoulder. Inhale to come back to center. Exhale to peep over the other shoulder. Roughly 5 turns, alternating looking over one shoulder at a time. Keeping that belly up position the whole time. Then easing your way from here into a strong plank hold for 10. Body line as parallel to the mat as you can. Activate the arms, the core, the legs to hold your plank as parallel to the mat as you can. Stay here in your high plank line or begin to play with an alternating knee march, drawing one knee in towards your nose, not rushing the march, looking for strength, looking for control through the arms and the core. Let's do 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Find your way to a high kneeling frame on the mat, keeping your feet relaxed and stacking behind your knees. Place your hands on your hips and begin to play with that 12 o'clock tilt through the pelvis and then the release back to neutral. 5 times, keeping that tall kneel as you find your tilt and your release. Then step the left leg forward, set up your low lunge line and find your tilt and your pause and your release. Your tilt and your release. Let's do one more and then we'll set up our high gate line from here. So my back will be towards you on this one. You're going to bring the back foot in. You're going to extend the left leg. Place your hand on the mat, either flat or maybe using a fisted line. Place your top hand on your hip, elbow looking to the sky. Let's begin with 10 taps, floating the leg to tabletop and then tapping back up. 8, 6, 4, 2, you're going to end at hip height and you're going to give me 10 knee tucks and come back to extension. 8, 6, 4, 2, we're going to combine those two movements together. 1 tap to the mat, 1 knee draw. 1 tap, 1 knee draw. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. We're going to end in the tapped position. Extend the top arm, bring it as close to your ear as you can and take a beautiful stretch here. Long line through the big toe of the extended leg all the way to the tips of the fingers on the extended arm. Then find your way back to a high kneeling frame, looking towards the top end of the mat. Float both sets of arms out in front. This time you're going to give me 5 back strokes on one arm, shooting for a full 360-degree rotation through the arm while keeping your stabilizing arm locked at shoulder height. Once you've done 5, you're going to trace on arm 2. Once you've done 5 on either side, you're going to double up and you're going to trace that back stroke with both arms in unison, using big sweeping motions through the arm. From here, we're going to find our way into a tall staff seat at the top end of the mat, extending the legs in parallel. You can keep them just inside of hip-width distance apart, maybe placing both sets of fingertips on the mat and leaning your weight slightly forward, not backwards. You're going to give me a single leg lift and hold on the right for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, bring it down, give it a little shake up, and then try the same on leg 2. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, bring it down, shake it up. We're going to try both legs together. Lean your weight slightly forward, not backwards, pressing off your fingertips. See if you can lift and hold both legs off the mat for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Bring it down, give them a little shake up. Then keeping your legs long extended and active, you're going to fist your hands, place them on the mat alongside your hips with your wrists looking into center. Lean your weight forwards, not backwards, and keep looking down towards your pubis as you press off your fisted hands and your heels to bring your bum off the mat and hold steady for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, bring it down. Give your wrists and your hands a little release, maybe a little starburst through the hands. We're going to come into a tabletop hold from here. Checking that your feet and your knees are hip-width distance apart. You're going to fist your hands again. Draw your hands behind your hip line. Bend your knees. Ground your feet. Pushing up into a table hold for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, bring it back down to the mat. Give your arms and your legs a shake out. Now we're going to try to combine the last 2 movements together. So our table hold and then a little fisted bum push through. So you're going to find your same frame, feet and knees hip-width distance apart. Fist your hands, place them alongside your body. We're going to come into the table hold first, pushing belly to sky. Then as you come down, push your bum through your hands, keep your bum extended off the mat, and shoot for a few repetitions, playing between your tabletop hold and your bum push through, keeping your bum hovering off the mat and not allowing yourself to actually take a seat. So you're playing with the feet and the heels and your fisted hands. Maybe shoot for between 5 and 10 repetitions, depending on how strong your body is feeling. Then take a seat on the mat, sitting up nice and tall, feet grounded, knees squeezing into center as if there was a ball tethered from the ceiling and hanging between the 2 knees. You're going to brace your hands on your shins. Give me the tallest seat that you can. And then on an exhale, you're going to twist off center to one side. You're going to grab opposite hand to knee. With the knee, you're going to push out, and with the hand, you're going to pull in, and you're going to hold that twist for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to center. Big breath in. Exhale to twist to side 2. Activating that push-pull. Hold. 5, 3, 1. Come back to center. We're going to do 2 more sets. Twist, activate, and hold for 5, 3, Come back to center. Exhale to twist and hold. 5, 3. Make sure that your feet stay grounded and that your knees stay active so they're both working, both squeezing. Last twist, big breath in. Exhale to twist and hold. Then open up your legs so that they're about mat width distance apart. We're going to begin playing with a little saw action. We'll begin with a single, then a double, then a triple pulse. Sit up nice and tall, feet braced, arms at your side, forming a soft T. You're going to exhale to twist and reach over your foot, keeping both hands long and reaching, and keep looking over the backhand. Inhale to come back, exhale to twist. Start to play with a single pulse, reaching long over your foot. Bring it into a double pulse. Keep looking over that backhand. Last double, and then we'll take it into a triple pulse from here. Keeping belly to spine the whole time as you lean into that saw line. Let's do one more to each side before we change our orientation on the mat. From here, we're going to flip over onto the side, and we're going to set ourselves up more or less in the middle of the mat, coming all the way down on the bottom arm, using it as a long pillow. Try to stack your body so that your shoulders, your hips, your knees, and your ankles are stacked one on top of the other, and you're not rolling the weight forwards or backwards. We're going to hover our legs off the mat, and we're going to hold top hand, maybe connected to the mat, or just relaxing on your hip. You're going to hold for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Keeping your bottom leg hovering off the mat, you're going to give me a slow scissoring pattern, not opening the legs too wide, but floating one leg forward and the other leg behind you in a scissoring fashion. Then come back to center. Keep your bottom leg hovering off the mat and give me a lift and lower. Lift and lower. 8, 6, 4, 2. Find your way back into your scissoring pattern. One leg forward, one leg behind. End with the bottom leg in front. Focus on the top leg. You're going to use those big toes to begin to trace a circular pattern. Maybe you're tracing the diameter of a tennis ball. You're going to shoot for 10 traces in one direction, and then change it up and do 10 in the opposite. Keeping that bottom leg hovering off the floor the whole time. Then find your way back to the middle. Give me a lift and lower, lift and lower. 8, 6, 4, 2, come back to your scissoring pattern, legs long and lengthened. Try not to bend at the knee. Keep the legs long and reaching. Don't make your scissor too big. You're going to end again with the bottom leg in front, and you're going to use the bottom leg this time to trace the circle. You can keep your top hand gently connected to the mat if you need to. 10 traces in one direction. Your circle will be a little bit smaller this time. Maybe it's somewhere between a, um, a golf ball and a tennis ball. 10 traces in one direction and then the other. Then bring those legs back down, change the setup frame, and you can bring it up onto the elbow of the bottom arm this time to work the trunk a little bit harder. But if you are coming onto the elbow, watch that you're not collapsing. So push away through the forearms and keep the ribs nice and high. You're going to bend the top leg, ground it, focus on the bottom leg, hover it off the floor, and we're going to trace that circle again, moving for 10 in the same direction. 7, 5, 3, and then change it up and trace in the opposite direction for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, last one. Bend the bottom leg. Start to walk up, keeping your bottom arm not underneath your armpit, but slightly further away from your body line. You're going to twist to look towards your top knee. You're going to push the top knee away from you, and you're going to rotate through the shoulders to look over the back edge of your mat, keeping your front foot firmly grounded into the mat. Pause here, taking a beautiful stretch, and then we'll ease our way from here into a modified half Lord of the Fishes stretch, starting to walk up closer towards that top knee. Wiggle your bottom foot out of the way, make space for your bottom on the mat so both bum cheeks are grounding. You're going to twist towards that top knee. You're going to grab for the outside of it. You're going to pull the knee in and hold your half Lord stretch, trying to keep both of your bum bones connected to the mat. Then untwist your trunk, swing your top leg behind you and set up a mermaid frame on the mat. Bending the front leg, so knee and the ankle are more or less in a straight line. You're going to tuck the knee of the back foot into the instep of the front leg and wiggle around on your bottom till it feels like both of your bum cheeks are connected to the mat. You're going to sit up nice and tall, placing both hands alongside your body. And then take the hand that's closest to your back ankle and place it on the rib cage on the opposite side of the body. Flip your other hand, palm up. We're going to take a big breath in for a slow count of 10 as you raise that arm overhead, feeling the ribs expanding underneath your anchoring arm. Then exhale for 10 as you allow that arm to fall back down, feeling the ribs falling into center on the exhale. Big breath in again for 10. Feel those ribs expanding underneath your anchoring arm. This time you're going to lock that arc and frame in with the top arm. You're going to take an exhale here and feel your ribs falling into center. Then inhale for 10 again. Feel the ribs expanding underneath your anchoring arm. And exhale for 10 as you allow the ribs to fall in and float your top hand back down to its start position on the mat. Then place both sets of hands on the mat. Reposition your back leg so that you're in an easy sit with one leg tucked in front of the other, sitting up as tall as you can. Wiggle around, make sure both of your bum bones are firmly connected to the mat. Take a big breath in, and on an exhale, you're going to twist and you're going to push hand to opposite knee and hold for 10. Don't worry about how close that knee is coming to the floor. Just enjoy the beautiful opening that you're feeling through the groin and the hip flexor. Inhale, come back to center, and exhale to push and twist to side 2. Then untwist your trunk and open up your legs into a wide straddle line. That straddle can be as wide or as narrow as you're comfortable with, but make sure that you're not stuck behind your bum bone. So tilt the pelvis to the 6 o'clock position so it almost feels like you're leaning forward into the straddle line. Keep both of your feet actively braced and looking towards the sky. We're going to do a little play on a saw line. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, twist off center to one side, hooking the outside of your hand to the outside of your knee. On an exhale, you're going to brush your hand down the outside of your leg and you're going to reach as far as you can. Maybe you're aiming for your ankle or just past your ankle. You're going to hold when you're at your maximum stretch. Then float your back hand off the mat, think saw line, and keep looking over that back shoulder for your floating back hand. And you're going to hold the belly up position as you hold the stretch here for a slow count of 10. Then inhale to sit up nice and tall. Exhale to twist to side 2, hooking the back of your hand on the outside of your leg. On an active exhale, you're going to brush your hand down the outer chain of the leg, reaching as far as you can. Hold the stretch, then lift your back hand off the mat. Keep looking over that back shoulder for that floating back hand and hold for a soft count of 10, keeping your belly button softly pulled in to center. Then peel back up nice and tall. Bring the two legs together in front. Give them a little shake out. Fold forward, brushing your hand down your shin line, maybe reaching for your feet if you can, and take a little seated forward fold here, making your chest heavy to the top of your thighs. Breathing nice and deeply into the back and the sides of your ribs. Then sit up nice and tall, take a little swivel on the mat and set yourself up on side 2, coming low to the mat for the first series of exercises, stacking your body one on top of the other. Shoulders, hips, knees, ankles in one long line. Lift and hover both legs off the mat for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, begin to scissor the legs, one forward and one backward. Not making your scissor too wide and keeping both legs long and reaching. Come back to the middle, lift and lower for 10. 8, 6, 4, 2, we're going to find our way back into our scissoring pattern, one leg forward, one leg behind. We're going to end with the bottom leg in front, focus on the top leg, and begin to trace a circle. Moving for roughly 10 revolutions in the same direction before you change. Ten circles in each direction. Then find your way back to the middle and give me a lift and lower for 10. 8, 6, 4, 2, back to our scissoring pattern one last time, one leg forward, one leg behind. Ending again with the bottom leg in front and beginning to trace that little circle with the toes of the bottom leg, moving in the same direction for roughly 10 revolutions before you trace in the opposite direction. Once you've done 10 traces in each direction, you're going to re-ground your feet, come onto the elbow of the bottom arm, making sure you're keeping those ribs up nice and high. Bend and anchor the top leg, and when you're ready, float the bottom leg off the mat and trace that teeny tiny circle once more, moving for roughly 10 traces in the same direction. I'm going to call that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then change it up and begin to trace for 10 in the opposite direction. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, bend the bottom leg, walk up on the bottom arm, don't bring that arm too close. We're going to push the top knee away, drop down through the bottom shoulder, or rather the top shoulder, and look over the front end of your mat while keeping your front foot firmly grounded into the mat. Then think about the current cross of your legs and how you can translate this shape into a half Lord of the Fishes stretch. Start to walk your hands all the way up, wiggling your bottom foot out of the way to make space to anchor both of your bum bones into the mat. You're going to twist towards your top knee, grabbing opposite hand to knee. You're going to make the knee heavy and you're going to pull in with the hand. We're going to find our way from here into our little mermaid frame. So when you're ready, untwist your trunk, unwrap the top leg and set up your mermaid line on the mat, making sure both of your bum bones are firmly grounded into the mat. You're going to focus on the hand that's closest towards your back ankle. You're going to place that hand on the rib cage of the opposite side of the body and then flip your other hand, palm up. Big breath in for a count of 10 as you arc and frame, feeling the ribs expanding underneath your anchoring arm. And then exhale for 10 as you bring that floating arm back down, feeling the ribs falling underneath your anchoring arm. One more time, big breath in, feel those ribs expanding as you arc and frame. Lock that top arm in, exhale here and feel the ribs falling underneath your anchoring arm. Then inhale for 10 again, feel those ribs expanding once more. Exhale for 10 as you float the top arm back down, feeling those ribs falling underneath your anchoring arm. Then find your way into easy sit, tucking the left leg in front of the right, making sure both of your bum bones are grounded into the mat. Sit up nice and tall. On an exhale, you're going to twist off center to one side, pushing opposite hand to knee, making sure that you're not leaning into the twist. So keeping the weight of your trunk and the weight of your pelvis coming down dead center into the mat. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale to activate the twist, then hold it and give yourself a count of 10 here with your body weight firmly centered. Then when you're ready, you're going to find your way into your wide straddle line, making sure that you're not stuck off your bum bones, sitting up nice and tall. Big breath in to prepare. On the exhale, you're going to twist off center to one side. Outside of your hand hooked to the outside of your leg. You're going to brush your hand down as far as you can, leaning into the sore line. Float your back hand off the mat. Look over that shoulder for that hovering hand and hold for 10, keeping belly to spine as you find your way into the fold. Then inhale to sit up nice and tall. Exhale to twist to side 2. Brush your hand down the outside of the leg, reaching as far as you can, keeping the belly up position, floating your back hand off the mat and looking over that back shoulder for that hovering hand. Keep both feet active and looking towards the sky. Feet are braced, inner thighs are switched on, belly is pulled into center. Then peel up nice and tall, bring both legs together along the midline. You can give them a little shake out if you need to. Place your hands on the tops of your thighs. Take a big breath in, and on an exhale, fold forward as far as you can, maybe keeping your hands on the legs or maybe reaching past your toes, maybe for the undercarriage of your feet, as you hold a soft forward fold, breathing nice and deeply into your mid and your lower back. Keeping the belly up position and trying to make your chest and your head as heavy as you can to the tops of your legs. This is where we'll end our practice for today. Thank you so much for coming out and joining me today. I do hope that you enjoyed today's class. Till next time, keep it light.